Benjamin can have love for the truckie. Beautiful minds, but we love getting ugly. Risk takers with a clover, man, we love getting lucky. You run, we chase fire, I love when it ducks me. Tones go off, house watch, read the address out. 1075, get up off the magic couch. 500 gallons prepared for the baddest drought. Who else you want on the way when disaster's out? Can't even get a little bit rattled when you enter with exit apparel. Mayday, member down, they'll drag you. You won't get this from every Tom, Dick, and Harold, but here's a view from the top floor with Mickey Farrell.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A View from the Top Floor. Another street talk for you today. West 10th, Greenwich, West Village, Rosemary's Cafe. Nice little spot. If you're in the area, check it out. I'm not going to lie. If you are hungry, a little light on the chicken portion, a little heavy on the lettuce portion. John's on Bleeckers a few blocks away. I recommend going down to John's. What I want to talk about today is the vent position versus search and coordinated attack. I'm not quite sure where we've got disconnected over the years, but the term coordinated attack, we hear about it all the time. It's in our textbooks, there's classes given about it at conferences, but I'm not sure we understand what we're truly in coordination with. People think that the outside vent position is there just to vent the fire building. There's some truth to that. However, the real mission isn't always necessarily venting the fire building as the outside vent firefighter. It's about saving lives. And where do we save lives? By searching inside the fire building. Our mission is inside that fire building, inside the window, 10, 15 feet down the hallway to the next room. That's your mission. Your task essentially is to vent the window, to gain position on the fire building, to do your search. That's where we've gotten confused. Firefighting 101, yes. We take the windows opposite the advancing line once the engine's in the fire room and flowing water. That doesn't change, and I'm not saying that's the wrong thing. I'm saying we've blurred the lines, though, and we've confused young firefighters by not telling the entire story. Here, in this terrain of firefighting, it's not necessarily the OV's job or task to vent opposite that fire from the engine advancing into that fire room. At times, it does fall onto that position for the OV, but not always. If you're in reach of the aerial ladder and fire is on the street side, we're taking that stick and putting it through, timing that with the engine advancing into that fire room, venting it and coordinating that attack and assisting with extinguishment. Again, that could be the OV, it could be the chauffeur. In this terrain, many times it's the chauffeur. But let's talk about the next step, though, the next level. What happens when we're out of reach of an aerial, or it's on the back side of a building and we can't get into that position to take that window? Not every fire is a one-story ranch, a 2.5-story private dwelling. Not every building is like that. Many companies that I know, that can man, what's his job? Knock back the fire with the can, close the door, isolate that room, get the engine in a position. So I love the idea, and this is pretty much how most of my fires have ever gone that are out of reach of the aerial, or the OV is doing his mission of searching, is that once we go in, we start knocking the fire down with the engine company. That can man is diving over the back of the engine, getting into that fire room, searching the fire area, as well as taking the windows, venting that fire room. So that coordinated attack doesn't necessarily have to be from the outside in. It can be from the inside out. We're in coordination with one another. So don't overthink that because you're the outside vent firefighter, that your sole mission is to vent that room, because it will get done from the inside out if it's timed properly. Everything on this job is about timing. Time is a tool. When we learn to manage time and have that flow, I talk about flow state often. Fitting in the X's and O's of firefighting. This is firefighter IQ. This is being able to move within the moment and know where you're supposed to be. Great firefighters are great firefighters because they understand where to fit in the moment. Yes, there's steps and rules and regulations and systematic methods in how we do things, but we have to be able to fill in the gaps. That is a gap to be filled in if we're not able to take the windows from the outside in. It's important we understand that we don't really talk about that. It's not necessarily taught in the fire academies. That comes from experience. I'm not saying I'm the most experienced firefighter. What I'm saying is that I learned that in real time from the senior guy showing me this is where you're supposed to be. Once that line moves in, you're over the backs and you're taking the windows. It's common sense in the sense of what our mission is to coordinate that attack. Let's flip the script a little bit and pivot on this. Clutter condition, Collier's mansion, whatever your terminology is, you need to get into that area that's most likely occupied that the inside team cannot get to because there's too much shit in the way. So again, that's not necessarily coordinating the fire suppression attack. It's searching the fire building. Now, my rule, when I'm waiting to gain position from the outside of the fire building in the OV position, and it's a rule that's not written, it was a rule that's passed down to me from senior guys going to fires saying, when you're in this situation, waiting to gain position on the fire building, there's a few things, a few signals, a few details that are important. When you hear the two words, start water, there should be a timestamp in your brain, 20, 30 seconds. Once those 20, 30 seconds goes by, you're taking those windows and you're entering that fire building. You're not waiting for the line to be coming down the hallway with the engine officer saying, we're advancing the line to the fire room. That's not reality. That's not practical. Again, we're searching for life. We get to that point of isolation, searching the hallway left, searching the hallway right. Coming back, isolating that door, and continuing, we're going to search to the point of entry. Another little tip is that if you are in the front of the building operating and you can see that line, you don't even have to hear the words start water. You can hear them. We've all heard that, the line being charged. Once you hear that and the sound stops, that starts the clock for 20, 30 seconds. Again, we take the window and we go. Being a responsible OV, though, is important. I want to talk about asking for permission. We don't always have to ask for permission. As a responsible and mature OV, you can tell your officer what you have on the outside, condition-wise. If you have a light wind condition, it doesn't have to be wind-impacted fire, a light wind condition, off a bay, a lake, down an alley, just a breezy day. You can hold off on those windows and say, ladder 1 OV to ladder 1, I'm going to hold off on the windows. We have a slight wind condition on the fire side of the building. As an officer, I love to hear that. 10-4, ladder 1 OV, I'll let you know when we get water on the fire. So it's about being responsible, it's about being mature, and not always following that systematic method of properly doing your job like the books say. Because in reality, the books don't always have the answers. It comes from going to fires, making a series of mistakes, and then relearning the job every day we go to work. Wrapping it up, the OV is about timing. I always say your OV position is like the midfielder on the fire ground. You can float, you can maneuver on the fire ground. You just always have to be able to make your position. Understanding what your mission is will allow you to get into the proper position and not just wait for you to vent for extinguishment. Because searching for life is what this job is about. Ventilation matters. Absolutely. I'm not discrediting venting for fire suppression. The priority is finding victims. So if you think that the OV position is just about the vent, you are completely missing the point of this position on the fire ground. It's a search job with a vent assignment to gain position to do the search, not the other way around. All right, guys? Mickey Farrell, Rosemary's Cafe, West 10th, Greenwich, right across from Squad 18. Enjoying a cold beer on a hot summer day. Thanks for the support. Like, subscribe, follow the new channel, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.